out in Culver City. Hey, Will, good morning.
All right, good morning to you, Ken. Good morning, fellas. Good to have you back there, Nate. As we get into some news, we've been mentioning it this morning. 9 teams open mini camps today, and while this represents the present, Commissioner Roger Goodell is thinking about the future, specifically the length of the preseason schedule. Goodell telling reporters at Jim Kelly's charity golf tournament in Buffalo he would like to see less preseason games.
I'm not sure, talking with coaches that 4 preseason games is necessary anymore to get ready for a season, to evaluate players, to develop players. There are other ways of doing that. And we've had a lot of discussions about that. And, I feel like what we should be doing is always of the highest quality. And I'm not sure preseason games meet that level right now.
It's 18 regular season games. There he is.
Of great interest, as will the health of Panthers quarterback Cam Newton. Newton on the field for OTAs. He's apparently throwing again, although it wasn't visible for reporters to see. Newton is still recovering from off-season shoulder surgery. Head coach Ron Rivera is happy with Cam's progress.
He's just going through the rehab process, and there really is no timetable. He's continued to work with the trainers on the side and do whatever they ask of him. And, he'll continue to progress, and we'll see where he is, at the end of the week. I continue to feel good about him, but again, we're going to listen to what Cam has to tell us. I'll listen to what the doctors tell me and what the trainers. And again, he's going through the process of his rehab program. At some point, he's going to have to throw the football. And it just so happened that the other day he did. And as I said, somebody came in and took a picture, which we really don't appreciate people snooping on what we're doing around here.
Well, Rivera has another reason to be optimistic. Rivera now has an added boost to his defensive unit in the form of defensive tackle Gerald McCoy. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport with the financials: 1 year, roughly $8 million, with a chance to make $10.25 million based on playing time and sack incentives. Now, the McCoy Revenge Bowl will be seen here on NFL Network during Week 2 when the Panthers host the Bucs. The two teams, though, will be playing each other again in Week 6, but alas, it will be in London. So friend of the show, Gerald McCoy, now there with the Panthers. Some thought that maybe he'd go to the Browns, maybe he'd go to the Ravens, but he settled with the Panthers. And Ron Rivera, for one, is happy about it with good reason.
Yeah, and he's wearing a hat. I want to see that shiny hair post-egg conditioning cleanse mask. Thank you so much, Will.
Yes,
we'll check
absolutely.
in with you throughout the day. Peter, I feel like, and I haven't talked to you about this offline, but you were very excited to see where he would end up.
Yeah.
How do you feel about him going to the Panthers?
This is a tremendous football player who just needed a new, sense of scenery, and I love it. It was almost a little bit like an NBA free agent taking the visits and seeing what it was, because he did go to Cleveland, he did go to Baltimore, he did go to Carolina, and at the end of the day, he goes to a defense that on that defensive line has KK Short, has Dontari Poe, has Luke Kuechly at linebacker, and has Ron Rivera coaching him. And guess what? He will play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the team that said, we're better off without you. We're better off a team without you in our locker room. Gets to play them twice a year. And I think the Carolina fit is incredible. He will keep pounding. He will be angry. And Ron Rivera will get the very best out of him. So as much as I thought Cleveland or Baltimore would have been an interesting fit, this one's personal. I think there was a bit to the fact that he wanted to go in the NFC South and beat up on those Buccaneers. I think it's a very interesting signing. And, if you want to say any GM has had a good offseason, look what the Panthers are doing. Okay. Marty Hurney in Carolina, they have added a lot of pieces, and they are big up front. The Carolina Panthers are a sneaky team right now. I think Gerald McCoy is a star, and that's a really big add.
And isn't it fitting that Julius Peppers walks away from the game and they get another individual that has that resume, that's been in the game, and now the ups and downs emotionally, financially, knowing what it's like to be at the top of an organization, be at the top of the totem pole, and then to be at the bottom and say, we don't need you anymore. Those are my favorite players because those are the most motivated players, especially on a one-year prove-it deal.
I saw some chatter that he wasn't really happy with how this ended, too. And I got to tell you, Ndamukong Suh coming in and taking his jersey number, I don't like that either. Ndamukong Suh is a team jumper at this point. That's fine. He can do it. He's a good player. Woo! He gets checks. That's fine. He can do whatever he wants. The fact that Tampa took Gerald McCoy's number, a guy who's been excellent on and off the field, everything, and just immediately gave it to a guy who was a Ram 10 minutes ago, I'd be triggered by that. I never underestimate how serious guys take their jersey numbers. It's their corporate logo. It's very important to them. I was surprised they did that, and if McCoy gets pissed because of it, I don't blame him.
Yep. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Great point made by Kyle and Bell. I think we all agree that the 6-time Pro Bowler Gerald McCoy joining Luke Kuechly, the anchor, that Panthers defense is a big deal. But I've got some other topics I want to
All
ask
right.
you guys if you think those are a big deal or no big deal. And let's go to Seattle to talk about their quarterback, Russell Wilson. He recently said he'd like to play not until he's 43. We've heard that number before. Now 45 is the digit we are hearing. Now Tom Brady, Drew Brees, they're the only starting quarterbacks that are currently over 40, still playing at a really high level, though. Big deal or no big deal that 30-year-old newly paid Russell Wilson wants to play until he is 45 years old.
I believe this is a big deal,
Okay.
and not because I don't expect him to play that long. I believe now they're changing the narrative of what it's like to play in the league. Remember when the average was 2.5 years, but now quarterbacks are playing forever. You look at Tom Brady. You know, I had Hammer pull up some notes about Russell Wilson, how he's preparing his body. In GQ magazine, he said, I've been really investing in my body, movement, and sleep. Having movement specialists, massage therapists, and a trainer, putting a team together is like a Formula One racing car. I want to be like Lewis Hamilton, as we know, as a monster, flying around those corners. When I first came in the league, I thought, if I eat decent and I go to bed and get 6-7 hours, like I can last. And I did. I lasted 11 years. But if I would approach my career like this, I would have played 15 years. And you see this more often. If you follow Antonio Brown, when he's on vacation, he has his chef, his massage therapist. He's doing Pilates. He's doing ballet. He has everything in place to make sure that his body, his car, his machine is at a top level. So I say it's a big deal because he's sending a message to the rest of the league. You don't have to be in and out anymore. You can last as long as you want, as long as you take care of the machine.
I'm going to say big deal, too. I thought there was an interesting story in the news this week that Jay-Z became the first billionaire hip-hop artist, right?
It's your boy.
I immediately thought of our world, football. Who'd be the first billionaire football player? And I look at what Russell's got going on right now. He's already the highest paid football player on the field, but he also is in the heart of so much, e-commerce and Amazon, all that stuff up there, and Boeing and whatever they have up there in the Pacific Northwest.
See it?
So he's 30 years old, and he's married to a superstar musician. Does he need to be doing this in 15 years? He's already got a Super Bowl ring. He's going to get another contract after this.
Brady still does it.
Brady still does it. I wonder if Russell has bigger goals than Brady from a business standpoint, because you look at his dealings with airlines, his dealings with other companies. I feel like Russell Wilson could end up being a tycoon. And if you want to be, I don't know if playing until you're 45 is the quickest path to that. If he gets another ring, if he gets another playoff appearance, gets another maybe opportunity to win an MVP award, does Russell Wilson really need to play for 15 more years? Or is his legacy set and he can move on to the next thing in life?
I'm going to go no big deal. I mean, we're getting crazy points with this. I'm going to play till I'm 40. He's 30. It's 15 years from now. I think we've all had a friend like this. I had a friend like this in college. We called him +1 Mike. Any story that you have, he's got a better story. You'd be like, Mike, I saw a unicorn. He'd be like, it's funny, I saw one too, and Ricky Martin was riding it. What? That's impossible. It's almost like this quarterback thing is, I'm going to play till I'm 40, 42, 43. And I remember Aaron Rodgers came on the show a couple years ago, and he's like, Tom has set the bar. Like, we're all chasing Tom. 45 years old is an astronomical age for a starting quarterback. And more importantly, it's 15 years from now. This is not a guy who's 41 who says, I want 4 more seasons. It's space age science fiction at this point. I hope he does. I hope he plays till he's 50. Someone will one up this. And they'll say, I'm going to play till I'm 51. I'm going to get frozen after I die and still be playing the game in my head. All that stuff is going to go on. It's +1
Vanilla
Mike.
Sky?
That's what I'm saying. Or Ted Williams. Either way. +1 Mike all over the quarterback position. I'm enough. Come on.
If you had to pick, would Tom Brady outlast Russell Wilson, or who will play longer?
Well, Brady just heard this and now re-upped. Brady's like, I'm going to go to 60. I don't care. I'm going to be a trillionaire, Peter.
Was +1 Mike a tycoon?
No, +1 Mike now works for CDW, I think.
Speaking of Tom Brady, why would a wide receiver choose not to play with him?
He's too old,
This
right?
is crazy.
Yeah,
This is a wild headline we have for you
You
here.
got to talk to this young man, Kay.
19th
Where is +1
show up
Mike?
to mandatory.